All right, good evening and thank you for joining us. The former deputy accused of killing a Springfield woman pleads not guilty to murder charges. Sean Grayson appeared before a judge for the first time since his arrest. He was also ordered to stay in custody at a local county jail. We have been following this story for you since the very beginning. And this evening, we are bringing you coverage, team coverage, as we continue to learn more about what led to the death of Sonya Massey. And we start with News Channel 20's Julia Rosier, who is in the courtroom this afternoon. Julia?
Don, that's exactly right. Sean Grayson appeared in person in the courtroom today. Cameras were not allowed inside, but it was packed inside of that courtroom. Today's hearing was to decide whether or not Grayson would stay behind bars while awaiting for his trial. The prosecution argued Grayson is a risk to the community and no combinations of conditions would limit that threat. But the defense had three separate arguments, being the ties to the community as he worked for several different law enforcement agencies throughout central Illinois. He's not a flight risk because he hasn't tried to run since the incident, and his medical history. He was diagnosed with colon cancer and has an ostomy bag. Family and friends of Sonya Massey were also in the courtroom today. They even got emotional at times when the judge announced his decision to keep Grayson behind bars. The family and friends began to cheer, but the judge quickly told them to be quiet. Reporting live in Springfield, I'm Julia Rosier. Back to you.
Thanks, Julia. Grayson will be back in court on August 26th. He was indicted on 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. The body camera video from the night of that shooting will be publicly released Monday. Be sure to stay with News Channel 20 on air and online for the latest on this story. Attorney for Sonya Massey's family releasing a statement applauding the judge for keeping Grayson in custody. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump saying in part, quote, "Today's decision by the judge to hold Deputy Sean Grayson in custody without bail marks another crucial step in the pursuit of justice for Sonya Massey's family, emphasizing the gravity of the charges and the severity of the officer's actions," end quote. Well, since her death, Sonya Massey's family has seen support from both the community and local officials. Governor J.B. Pritzker called the shooting a tragedy during a news conference today.
I feel for not just the families, the family of the victim, but also the families of Sangamon County, and then all people of color who have had to endure these kinds of circumstances and to witness them, because it affects everyone, even if it's never happened to you specifically.
All right, in the hours since former Deputy Sean Grayson was indicted on multiple charges, including murder, we have learned more about what led up to the shots being fired in her home. We continue our team coverage now with News Channel 20's Carson Gordy. Carson, what did you find out?
The documents detail the events caught on camera in the early morning of July 6 at Sonya Massey's home. Sean Grayson and another Sangamon County deputy went inside her home after Sonya called 911 about a prowler. During the incident, Grayson pulled out his service weapon and aimed at Massey. This was after Grayson allowed Massey to remove a pot of hot water off the stove. Massey put her hands in the air, said "I'm sorry," and ducked behind a counter. Grayson then got closer to her, continued to yell to put down the pot, and fired 3 shots at her, striking her in the face once. The report added that Grayson's body camera was not activated during the incident. He turned on his body cam footage after the shooting. They got the footage from the other Sangamon County deputy that responded to the call. I'm Carson Gordy. Back to you.
Thanks, Carson. It was also noted in the charging documents Grayson made no attempt to help Massey after he shot her. The other deputy, whose name has not yet been released, did render aid to her. Tomorrow is the funeral for Sonya Massey. It will be held at Ruby Funeral Home. Visitation starts at 9 in the morning, followed by the service beginning at 10. And News Channel 20 will continue to follow this story and ongoing criminal case. You can find the latest updates both on air and on our website, newschannel20.com. Also on our social media pages.
Continuing coverage tonight, not guilty. The former deputy accused of killing a Springfield woman enters his plea.
That's right. We've been following this story for nearly 2 weeks, and our team is learning more about the moments leading up to the death of Springfield mother Sonya Massey.
We'll join our Carson Gordy in just a few minutes. He's going to walk us through the court documents revealed today. But first, we're going to learn how it felt to be inside of that courtroom today.
That's right. Our Julia Rosier joins us now. Julia, you were inside the courtroom today. What was it like?
Dawn, Eliza, I was there for about 30 minutes before the defendant, Sean Grayson, came into the courtroom. He was there in person wearing a gray and black striped outfit, typical to an inmate uniform. He didn't say anything. He just sat there while his attorney argued on his behalf, and he did enter that not guilty plea.
And talk us a little bit through what was the energy like in that room today?
It was really tense. You know, in fact, it was standing room only. All the seats there were packed, and it was filled with most of her family and her friends and supporters who really just want to be there for Sonia's family.
Yeah, I bet. And boy, the crowd, you said, cheered when he said you're going to be held?
Yes, you know, once the judge made his decision and his determination in keeping Grayson behind bars pending his trial, the crowd did begin to cheer a little bit, but that was quickly stopped by the judge, and he told them to be quiet.
So what happens next?
He'll be back in court on August 26th. It will be a pretrial hearing.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. And we don't know, just so you know, what jail he's at this point. They're not releasing his location for fear of his safety and for others. We do know he's scheduled to be back in court again, August 26th.
Yes, thank you, Julia. The body camera video from the night of the shooting will be publicly released on Monday. Be sure to stay with News Channel 20 on air and online for the latest on this story.
Well, State Senator Doris Turner issued a statement about the charges brought against Grayson, saying in part, quote, "The actions taken by this officer were unjustified and reprehensible. Incidents like this erode public trust in those who are called to protect the community. This should never have happened," end quote.
And we're also learning new details about Sonya Massey. She was born in 1988 in San Diego, California. She attended church at 2nd Timothy Baptist Church. According to her obituary, she was a devoted mother. She loved to do hair and spend time with her family. She retired at J&J Gaming. And we now have new details about Grayson's work history. Since beginning his law enforcement career in 2020, he has worked at 6 different departments. He started out with Pawnee Police, then moved to Kincaid, followed by Verdon and Auburn Police Departments. He started working at Logan County Sheriff's Department in May of 2022. He was hired by Sangamon County 1 year later.
Well, Grayson is charged with 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. News Channel 20's Carson Gordy was in the courtroom today as the state's attorney laid out the case against the former deputy.
All the details in the charging document come from the body cam footage from that night on July 6 at Sonya Massey's home. Grayson arrived on scene with another Sangamon County deputy whose name has not been released yet. The video is from the other deputy's camera, not Grayson's, because his camera was not on. He turned it on after he fired those fatal shots at Sonya Massey. The documents say Grayson shot Massey even though she had her hands in the air, apologizing to the deputies. According to an expert in the field of use of force, Grayson was not justified in his use of deadly force. He likened the scenario to an officer intentionally and unnecessarily putting himself in front of a moving vehicle, then justifying the use of force because he was afraid of being struck. I'm Carson Gordy. Back to you.
Thanks, Carson. The documents say Grayson fired his service weapon 3 times, hitting Massey in the face 1 time. She was pronounced dead at a local hospital.
And Mayor Misty Buscher said in response to Sonya Massey's death in a message this afternoon, quote, "This senseless loss of life breaks my heart, and as a community, we stand together in mourning," end quote. All the statements we shared today and more will be up on our website in full. And the governor responding to Sonya Massey's death during an event today.
But the tragedy of this is heartbreaking. And I feel for not just the families, the family of the victim, but also the families of Sangamon County, and then all people of color who have had to endure these kinds of circumstances and to witness them, because it affects everyone.
He also says that he believes that the state's attorney in Sangamon County acted appropriately.
The funeral for Sonya Massey will be held tomorrow. It will be at Ruby Funeral Home. Visitation starts at 9 in the morning, followed by the service, which will start at 10. Additionally, the family's attorney, Ben Crump, will be in attendance. We just learned that.
And you can stay up to date or read our past stories on the death of Sonya Massey over on our website. Just go to newschannel20.com to find any of the stories and click on the Sonya Massey topic.
Good evening, and thanks for sticking up late with us. I'm Dawn Sterling. We continue our coverage now into the investigation following the death of Sonya Massey. Now, the former deputy being charged in her death has pled not guilty. Sean Grayson, who you see here, entered his plea in court today. He's facing 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official misconduct. And Sean Grayson will be held in jail until his trial after Sangamon County prosecutors argued he's a risk to the community. News Channel 20's Carson Gordy joins us with an update. Carson?
In a standing room only courtroom, prosecutors argued why former Sangamon County Deputy Sean Grayson was unjustified in shooting and killing Sonya Massey. Tonight, we've obtained the dispatch call from the night Massey was shot and killed.
And you can start 2868 Hoover, 2868 Hoover. Units on scene are 1078, shots fired.
Earlier that morning, Sean Grayson and an unnamed Sangamon County deputy responded to a 911 call from Sonya Massey, who called the police after concerns of a prowler. The deputies entered the home. The charging documents say Grayson made a comment about a pot on the stove. Massey set the pot of water down on the counter. Documents say that despite distance and relative cover, Grayson pulled his handgun and threatened to shoot Massey in the face. She then put her hands in the air and said, "I'm sorry," while ducking for cover behind a counter. Grayson got closer and continued to yell at Massey to put the pot down. He then fired 3 shots, striking her once in the face.
2868 Hoover Street, county's out requesting EMS. There's shots fired, stating that a female shot in the head.
In court Thursday, a judge denied Grayson pretrial release after arguments that he's a danger to the community. Some people in the room erupted in applause. An Illinois State Police investigation says Grayson was not justified to use deadly force. Sangamon County prosecutors say Grayson instructed the other deputy to not provide medical aid to Massey. Grayson's lawyer argued that he is not a flight risk and that complications from colon cancer puts his safety at risk while in jail. He faces 5 criminal counts, including 3 counts of first-degree murder. He faces life in prison if convicted. Grayson's body camera was not on during the shooting. It was turned on after. Footage was caught on the other deputy's camera. I'm Carson Gordy. Back to you.
August 26th. And audio from the Sangamon County Dispatch states a contradiction from Sonya Massey's official cause of death. A criminal investigation states Massey was shot in the face by Sean Grayson. Here is audio from after that shooting.
Just confirm self-inflicted. 2 on off.
Copy County's update. I didn't. Self-inflicted. Okay, thank you.
We asked Sangamon County if they knew who contacted dispatch and told them the gunshots were self-inflicted. An official tells News Channel 20 he was not aware of the audio or who would have made that claim. The body camera video from the night of that shooting will be publicly released on Monday. Be sure to stay with News Channel 20 on air and online for the latest on this story. Mayor Misty Buscher said in a response to Sonya Massey's death in a message this afternoon, "This senseless loss of life breaks my heart. And as a community, we stand together in mourning," end quote. All the statements we shared today and more will be on our website in full. And the city of Springfield releasing a notice to the community now in the wake of the shooting. They want to tell the community how proud they are for expressing their right to share their voices in a peaceful manner. They add there will be an increased police presence around the city to ensure the community's safety as they continue to mourn. The city asks you continue your support for the Massey family. And the funeral for Sonya Massey will be held tomorrow. It will be at Ruby Funeral Home. Visitation will start at 9 in the morning, followed by a service at 10. Civil rights attorney Ben Crump, who is representing Massey's family, will be at the funeral tomorrow. He released a statement today saying in part, quote, "Today's decision by the judge to hold Deputy Sean Grayson in custody without bail marks another crucial step in the pursuit of justice for Sonya Massey's family, emphasizing the gravity of the charges and the severity of the officer's actions. And News Channel 20 will continue to follow this story and ongoing criminal case. You can find the latest updates on both air and our website, newschannel20.com, and our social media pages.
Thanks for watching. Stick around by subscribing today and don't miss a single video.